Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. I'm sorry, I'm happy because I got here with 50 seconds to spare. I got done with all my morning chores. I prepped the show. I took a quick shower. There are still hairs sticking on top of my head, and quite frankly, I don't care. I don't have to shave my head until tomorrow. But here we are. It's Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live from Facebook every day of the week. 10:30 in the morning, where we take a look at headlines, comments, questions, ideas, topics, suggestions, anything we can get our hands on to enrich the quality of life we enjoy here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Yes, locals. That's the key word. We are about locals. We are about people moving to Puerto Vallarta, wanting to understand how to live like a local. We are about people that have spent enough time in Puerto Vallarta that consider Puerto Vallarta as perhaps a second home, or folks that come here and spend a long periods of time with us. That's what we are. That's who we are. And that's what we want to enrich on a daily basis. It is always a pleasure to welcome you here. And particularly, I get happy when I see new folks joining us. And you can let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comments, and we will be glad to give you a little happy welcome. Kelly asks, local or loco? Paco says, a little bit of both. Absolutely. Let us see who's joining us this morning. John, oh, wow, Glavy or Glavy? I'm not sure, John, but it's great to see you from Anaheim. I love your fascinating last names. I love it. Janet is eager to go. I love it. Tomas is with us. It's great to see you, Tomas. Karen is joining us from Portland. And of course, Toronto is in the house. So great to see you all. By the way, if you have any important questions, comments, or suggestions that you want to bring up during the broadcast, please add a letter Q at the beginning. And we'll be looking for those Qs. And if we don't get to those Qs, we'll get to them during the afternoon. Let's see who else is here. Christy says, hooray for another day with Paco and Cluster. Happy Thursday to all. It is Thursday. Yes, it is Thursday. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Every time I see you, Christine, I want to go to San Miguel de Allende. You know, the traveling is starting to buzz in my ears again. I'm starting to feel a little bit more comforted about the idea of traveling, and a lot of it is thanks to this wonderful interview that I am going to share today with the fabulous Gina Presley, who we got together and she talked to me about what it's like to be a flight attendant in COVID times. We're going to talk about this later on today, or rather we're going to look and enjoy the interview we put together. And this is all making me like, I want to start traveling again. Let's see what else. Dan is staying at one of my favorite places in the world, Quinta Maria Cortez en Casa Tres Vidas. What a wonderful property it is. I've been talking to the owners for a while of doing a walking tour, because just as we were talking about the history of Puerto Vallarta yesterday, there is so much history in those properties, and we need to share that. We need to share that at some point. Joe is looking forward to hear Gina's tricks of the trade. Let me tell you, Joe, after today's interview, you will learn to throw shade like a pro. And the people you're throwing shade at will not even notice. Guaranteed. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Bonjour mes amis, comment ça va? Ça va bien? Ça va bien? It's good to see a little Frenching going on. Let's see. Oh, snow day. I'm sorry to hear that, Janet. Well, snow is beautiful, but only when one can choose to be around it. When you have to shovel it and all that good stuff, then not so much. Oh my goodness. Sherry went to El Campanario for a traditional sopes breakfast. El Campanario. We talked about El Campanario when we talked about pozole. And it is one of the most wonderful traditional restaurants right across the street from Puerto Vallarta's main church. Beautiful, beautiful spot. Eric, as always, it's great to see you. Oh, yes. Oh. Let's make it happen. Kathleen, let's make it happen. Road trip. And Logan says road trip. And Mijal says we're in. Let us all move our operation to San Miguel de Allende one of these days. But first, let us go through the news because we have a few things to share today. From chaos in downtown because of traffic and repairs, to Nayarit continuing to party and nobody giving a shit about it, to great music news, and of course our interview. So we might as well get started. Let's push the magic button. Zapata or El Centro from points north yesterday Paco needs to drink more coffee. Yesterday was a rather chaotic day for drivers due to work undertaken by Seapal, the local waterworks company. Bus drivers that usually cross through downtown to reach Emiliano Zapata were forced to stop at Parque Hidalgo, which in turn made a lot of folks late to arrive at work or other kinds of appointments. The question in everybody's mind is, did Seapal fail to notify, or did the papers not get the memo? That is a really, really good question. In the meantime, consider driving through Libramiento if today you are headed in that general direction, just in case you don't want to be caught up in a crazy traffic jam. Parties and large gatherings continue to be forbidden in Nayarit. You cannot throw parties in Nayarit. Well, you cannot throw parties in Puerto Vallarta either, in Jalisco. However, this comes from the state of Nayarit, where authorities have not been able to stop all sorts of shindigs, from weddings to birthdays. Why is this? Well, because city inspectors are not doing their job. And why is that? Well, that's where one wished local newspapers were a little bit more thorough or forthcoming of information. But in this particular case, Vallarta Independiente, which is the source of this news item, missed the mark completely. It's always a colorful day for me when I read these articles that don't explain things or don't have closure or don't have an action item or something. But that's the nature of the beast. And speaking of missing the mark, well, Vallarta Independiente also missed the mark on this one. According to this news item, fichas or tickets were offered to senior foreign residents yesterday at the Naval Hospital to be able to guarantee a COVID-19 vaccine during the current vaccination period. According to Vallarta Independiente, nobody told anyone that this was happening, but two sources close to me confirmed that it was announced on Facebook. However, apparently, this action ruffled feathers among Mexican nationals that arrived when the tickets were already exhausted. They were gone. They only had like 1,000 tickets. And they started arguing that preference was given to the international community, which is not a good thing. Nobody wants to exacerbate. Nobody wants to fuel fire into the divide between locals and foreigners in this city. And it is unfortunate that this article framed the article, this news source framed the article in such a way that it seems as though that was the case. But I seriously doubt that was the case. I think this is one of those situations in which if you are interested in finding out what's happening, you have to pay attention. Unfortunately, that is easier said than done because, as you know, when the news sources are not precise with their information, and on top of that, people like yours truly needs to be looking for information here, there, and everywhere to make sense of things. I appreciate how sometimes it is challenging to tell a complete story and tell it accurately. The best thing that I can say to you is something that I've said before: pay attention, watch the news, watch your sources of information, make sure that the information that you are reading comes from a reliable source, or as reliable as they get. Let me cough. Thank you. Better than sex. And let me take a quick look at your comments before we move on to the rest of the program. Dave says Campanario rocks, and I agree with you. Let's see. Raymond wants to go on the road trip as well. Let us all go on this road trip. I love it. Well, people complain that the Seapal infrastructure is inadequate, and then they complain about the inconvenience when they're working to expand it. Paul, you are absolutely right. We are famous at complaining about everything, but there are a lot of people that will say things like, they should repair the streets at night, or they should repair the streets in the summer, or they should do enhancements at a different time of the year. But it always seems to be the wrong time of the year. The bottom line is our city, like any city, needs some TLC on a regular basis, and sometimes that TLC happens when it may not be convenient for us. But that's when we should learn to enjoy the pace here, the more relaxed pace, and we should enjoy being patient and just not getting all worked up about something. Of course, a lot of times the papers just love to make big things out of things, but let us not even go there. Let me see what else we have here. This pandemic has no borders. This is absolutely right. I thought one had to have a CERP to get vaccination. It is required, as far as I understand, Diane, but again, the government came up with this fancy website, and now the local government is going like, well, you don't need to be pre-registered, just go and wait in line. It's going to be an exercise of patience and understanding for everyone. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. A dear friend of mine was telling me yesterday, well, I may go to get vaccinated on Sunday. And I said to this friend, well, seriously, I would not wait. It's like one of the hospitals where they're doing the vaccines is 3 blocks away from your house. Just go and find out and stand up and wait in line and ask questions. And that's what we need to do, especially if we want to resume our lives with a certain amount of confidence that if we've been vaccinated, we are going to be better off than staying at home waiting in fear for things to get better. But that's just my own take on the situation. Claude, this is perfectly appropriate. I know that you and Lucas went out with Juan Caballos yesterday, the horse riding friend that we have up in El Jorullo, and I am so very happy to hear that you guys had a good experience. This is great news, and I'm ready to hear the blow by blow, no pun intended, of how the trip went. But let's hear it for patience and understanding. Very useful in every land. Absolutely. Speaking of patience and understanding, let's try to understand what the weather has prepared for us today. Well, apparently there's a cloud looming somewhere that looks like David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger. Whatever that may be, I don't know. But right now we are at 26 degrees Celsius. It feels like 26. It usually feels warmer when the humidity is high, but humidity is very low, 37%. Our temperature for Fahrenheit junkies is 78 degrees, and our weather forecast for today will be partly cloudy through the day. High temperature 29, low temperature 20. Friday, mostly cloudy through the day, and then on Friday, mostly cloudy through the day, high temperature 30, low temperature 19. And Saturday, partly cloudy through the day again, with a high temperature of 29, a low temperature of 18. I don't know what your rituals are for the temperature changes in Puerto Vallarta, but for me, I pay a lot of attention to the position in which my ceiling fan is. I always have it on at least in number one, but then all of a sudden I have it on at number two, and then I start sleeping without my shirt on, and then I turn it up a notch on the ceiling fan, and then I get rid of the blanket, and eventually by the middle of the summer, the fan is blasting at number five. I'm sleeping naked, and you didn't need to know that, but there it is, my big mouth. And, wind is blasting, and it's still too hot. But that's just the way it goes every year. It's a cycle that I've gotten used to. And, again, speaking of patience, it is what it is. Let me share a few great news for music lovers. This makes me super, super, super happy that the Philharmonic, the Jalisco Philharmonic, is resuming their programming. I'm thrilled to announce that they have resumed their concerts, even though they are presently only available to enjoy live online. The season begins on Sunday with a performance of Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 1 and Mozart's Symphony No. 36, and this performance, as well as all the other ones, will be broadcast live through Jalisco TV and through the orchestra's Facebook page. Needless to say, I will be sharing the links to these places. For those of you that don't know it, although I mention this quite frequently, one of my favorite activities to do is to look at the programming of the Jalisco Philharmonic and program and schedule overnight trips in Guadalajara City just to go watch the matinee performances on weekends, which are absolutely fantastic. And that is what's going to happen this Sunday. They will do a matinee performance, and it'll be absolutely wonderful. I don't know exactly when we will be able to attend the concerts in person, but trust me, I'll be there with bells on. I miss live performances like you wouldn't believe, especially classical symphony orchestra music. Along the lines, the New York Times offers 5 things to do this weekend, highlighting, of course, noteworthy cultural events to experience virtually, from dance performances to opera and so forth. And lastly, New York Times also offers 10 classical concerts to stream during the month of March, and there's some really, really good stuff to enjoy there. There is the wonderful Mitsuko Uchida, who is an amazing Schubert performer on the piano, and she's also a stellar Mozart performer. So there's going to be some good stuff to enjoy if you enjoy streaming concerts on your computer or your smart television set. Let me take a quick look at your comments. Get naked. Yeah, come keep me company, Fernando, and we'll get naked together. No, outside voice. I tell you, not good, not good. Logan chimes in. Thank you so much for supporting Juan and his crew. This means a lot to us. The best way to keep the horses fed is to book a tour with them if you have the means. Christy chimes in. It was the best ride I've ever had when I went with him in November. And Michael says, yay, that the Philharmonic has resumed, now just waiting for opera. That makes 2 of us. There's going to be a wonderful recital. One of the things that I saw on this article from the New York Times of Kurt Weill's songs from La Scala. I forget the name of the soprano that is singing, but I am just so excited about these things. So, with all that said and done, a little bit of background information. Some time ago, oh my God, and I didn't even set up the Gina interview. Let me set that up right now. Some time ago, we connected with Gina. Gina Presley has been coming to Puerto Vallarta for 5 years, as you will find out in a second. And she's been absolutely wonderful to get to know online. And finally, we got together. We've been talking about doing an interview about what it's like to fly during COVID times and be a flight attendant. And she finally got around to coordinating her schedule with mine and vice versa. So don't mind me. I'm going to set up a new scene because I didn't set this up this morning, and there it is. It's going to be blank for just a second let me throw Gina in there and we'll get started. Okay, let's begin this formally.
Okay.
Vroom. Ugh, my tummy. There you go.
I know.
I
Mine
know.
too.
This is so horrible.
Mine too.
Okay, so hello everybody. I'm sitting here with my dear friend Gina Presley. She watches our show regularly, and she is a flight attendant.
A flight
attendant. Just very quickly, so that people can get a sense as to your connection to Puerto Vallarta, let's play fill in the blank.
Okay.
You've been coming to Puerto Vallarta for
6 years.
6 years. And I know that you grew up with music in your life.
I did.
And I know that you grew up with the idea of being a flight attendant in your life.
Absolutely.
How do you combine them both?
I'm still working on that.
You're still working on that.
I do both, but one takes precedence over the other
Which one?
in flying, and I just really stopped performing at around age 40 until I came back, until I moved here, and I didn't plan to move here.
Mm-hmm.
I came on a very quick vacation to see somebody who lived here, and as you know, we talked earlier, I just loved it, but mostly I was completely pulled in by the music.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I decided to sing again.
Flight attendant work and COVID just sends chills down my spine, and I'm sure that it sends chills down. I mean, the whole idea of traveling seems so challenging nowadays.
It is.
What has this been like for you this past year?
So I was absent for a big part of it, and I'm based in New York, and I live in Atlanta, so I commute, and I was injured coming home on January 1st. So I was home. I was home recovering from surgery until I was cleared to go back to work in November.
That's last year.
See.
Mm-hmm.
And so things had changed dramatically. And so while it may appear different, I think we've all fallen back into the routine of how we do our job. We just do it with a mask and goggles and gloves for the whole flight.
Wow.
So that's huge. My first flight was to Paris when I came back, and I think I was more afraid of how I had built it to be in my head than how it really was. I don't think that our airplanes have ever been cleaner. I think that it is safe. You have to follow the protocol. If you follow the science works. So I work for an incredibly good company who aligned early on with Mayo Clinic. And so we have had, and plus our corporate offices are in Atlanta, right there with the CDC. So we have had just expert guidance from day one. The protocol, as more science is learned, more is implemented. We still have the space between, the middle seats are still out, I think, until April.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all kinds of intricate filtration systems and no contact. Just everything is just handled so well, but still, we're still there to provide your safety as well as your comfort. And it's still that same great, it's the great service. It's all about service.
Mm-hmm.
When you pick an airline, what do you base it on? I base it on how nice people are, from check-in until I'm in the cab leaving, and that part has not changed.
You touched base on something earlier, a second ago, that I thought was absolutely important, which is we make up these ideas of what we think it's going to be like. And somehow those ideas frame or shape our experience even before we've had it.
So I think that that's a big I think that's huge. So, for instance, I went to Scotland this year for, it was my first time. Now, I didn't leave my house for months because of an injury. And I live in Georgia, and it really never completely shut down. So, unlike other places around the world that did very strict shutdowns. But simply based on mobility, I had a really bad hip injury, so I didn't leave. But when I was able to leave, I went on a big trip, and I don't know what I thought it was going to be like. I just know that I had myself so worked up, and I just thought for no reason. Do I think it's safe to travel? Yes. I think it's going to be slow to come back. I think that once you're vaccinated, I think we'll be in masks for a long time. But if you go back and you read history, that's just how it was in other pandemics. And I just think that's such a small price to pay. I love to travel, and so I don't want that to stop. So if the only thing that's stopping me from traveling is wearing a mask, okay, I'll wear a mask. And I'm really fortunate. I work in New York State, so their governor allowed their flight crews to be in the first phase of vaccinations.
Oh, wonderful.
So I have been vaccinated, and we follow really strict protocol. We adhere to it, and that's why it's working. We're doing well, and it's just going to continue to go. I think if people will just get through that first hurdle of getting out the door and you'll see as you go through the check-in process how nice and easy it is. And so when people are, when they're able, when their countries open up, I would not hesitate to tell people to say it's safe.
I would like to bring up two kinds of YouTube videos that I've been drawn to when they've come across my, they've shown up on my computer. And one of them is a happy one, and the other one is probably not so happy. The first one is, I've seen videos of flight attendants, of crew, that break into song or do routines or do all kinds of fun things. And you're a performer.
Right, so you know that I do that.
Well,
yeah, we already know.
Like, can you tell me a specific memory of something, or do you have a special song that you sing?
I make up songs with picking up trash.
Like what?
And we're rolling. And I'm pushing the cart. Rolling. Rolling down the aisle. Just fun stuff like that. People love that.
Oh, good.
And sometimes, we'll do happy birthday. Sometimes we'll do shout outs. My last name is Presley. They'll say, are you related to Elvis? And it's like, yes, of course I am. And, just, I think if you like your job, whether you work at OXO or you work in my job, if you like what you're doing, everybody's going to have a good time.
Okay. I totally agree with that. But now we would have to revisit the unfortunate other side of that coin. Every now and then we run into these YouTube videos that people take of people just becoming fugly on board.
Oh, yeah.
How, and I'm not even going to ask you about your worst experience, because that to me is not even as important or as useful to people that are watching as how do you nurture your soul when difficult situations arise at work? How do you heal from those challenges?
I write stories, and that is my outlet. And I talk about it. We're a tight crew. So we have already decompressed. By the time we get off the plane, it's over. Sometimes there's residuals. Uh, I use humor as a release,
Mm-hmm.
and I will absolutely viscerate them with humor.
Well, I am so happy you said that because let's play a little game.
Okay.
I am being the asshole, and I want you to tell me the most humorous way in which you would tell me that I am being an asshole, and I shouldn't be able to even notice that you're being a bitch.
Oh my goodness, Paco, you know, I'm not an actress, okay?
I seriously doubt that.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you have a standard phrase that you say that to someone when you're really meaning to give them the finger with a big smile? Like I was just an asshole. I didn't put my bag where it was supposed to go. I didn't put on my seatbelt. I'm not wearing my mask. I'm being an idiot.
We have a thing that other flight attendants, now this is inside knowledge. We have an eye language.
Oh, check it out, you guys. Check it out for the next time you travel.
We can communicate fully with just our eyes.
Okay. Oh, that's shady.
This is the good one.
Okay. Oh, that's nasty.
Oh.
That's nasty.
And so we can talk to each other on the other side of the cart, so you would be on the other side of the cart, and I will have told her, ugh, so awful. But we're making drinks, and it was like, But that's, so we don't ever have to say anything. I get a lot of, can I get you something to drink? Would you like a beverage? Can I get something for you? And what do you have? Is what I get. What do you have?
Okay.
And I will say, not enough time. And keep going. So, but with humor, and I'll back it back up, and I'll say, just kidding. And, you know, people are, if you're fun, they're fun. I can tell you honestly, I really don't have too many problems with customers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just don't.
So those horrible videos of the ladies that, I'm not going to even use the name because we don't like the name, but all those horrible videos that we see, is that more an exception?
It's an exception. Definitely not as common as, I mean, they do happen. And just like everything else, I think that it hits a media cycle and so it's blown out of proportion. No, 99.9% of all conflict situations are handled. We're trained for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're trained to diffuse those situations. Does it happen? Yes.
I like the looks.
Oh yeah.
Those were good. I'm going to work on those because I'm sure they're going to come handy around here.
Right. I mean, if we're friends, we can do a complete review of a show. Just you know.
Are you daring me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I'm really good at it.
Okay.
So I think you would be too, but it has to be more covert.
We will work on this.
Okay.
We will work.
I have the sun in my eyes, so I can't see your face, but I'm sure you can see mine. So I can't see your actions, but we'll practice.
That's a deal, and we'll bring it to you first, not anybody else.
Right.
Let me ask you something important to me.
Yes.
Is there something that we haven't talked about? I know that we could talk about so many things,
Right.
but I wanted to really focus on your well-being as a friend, and I wanted to focus because you must have what, in my eyes, is one of the most challenging jobs right now.
Right.
You know, to deal with
It is
people
challenging.
that you don't know on a daily, regular basis, to come close to people that you don't know, and you don't know exactly what kind of guests they're traveling with, and I'm talking about germs and stuff like that.
Right. So we from the time you pull up at the curb until you board the plane, there are lots of steps along the way that are really reminding people that they must have their mask on and they must distance. You know, At first, it seemed a little bit strange to me, but now it's just, this is the new normal, and as soon as everyone embraces it, we're all going to be much farther along.
So, so by the time they get the Gina look, they really
If we
deserve
have
it.
fun, most of the time that's because you're wearing something really ugly, or or
This whole thing?
no, or it's just so extra, only just for fun. Uh, our job, our purpose is to provide safety and as well as comfort. But our primary focus is your safety. So in these times, in these COVID times, it is your safety to keep your mask on, to distance, to not get too close. It is a very unusual time, but this is how we move forward. And I think we're all just ready to move forward. I know you are. I know, aren't you guys? I'm just so ready to move forward. And so just go through everything that is, even when you sign on to check in for your trip, there are check boxes and reminders. You must wear a mask. You must wear a mask. And gentle reminders during the flight. We do walkthroughs. There doesn't have to be anything aggressive or drill sergeant-ish. You just have to wear a mask.
Is there something you'd like for the Coffee and Headlines community to know about you that we haven't touched base on?
I'm so relaxed. I would never ever go in camera without my strip eyelashes on or or all gussied up. But no,
I'll take that as a compliment.
I am amongst my friends, and I love your show. I love all of the information that you provide. I love all of the extra information. I know that I have researched artists and stories that I caught. I watch your show when I can all over the world. I have a lot of friends here, so I like to see everything. I think that your program has been excellent during this unusual time.
Mm-hmm.
I see better times heading this way.
So do I.
Yeah, I feel that energy. I think it's happening. I think that the people who are, let me talk about this. I think that these people who are travel shaming, I've had enough.
You've had enough.
I've had enough of
Ya
that.
chole. That's the expression that we learned yesterday. Ya chole in Spanish is I've had enough.
Ya chole. Okay.
Ya chole.
Yeah. So, because I'm not going to do anything risky or breaking rules or anything, and I don't want any more messages that I shouldn't be traveling. It's my job. I travel for a living.
I have a final
Sometimes
question.
says that.
I have one final question.
Yes.
Can I get some more peanuts?
Yes.
Don't get up just
Oh my
yet.
God! Yes, of course.
Don't get up just yet. No, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. Thank you very much, Gina.
Oh,
It's
thank
been
you
such
so
a pleasure
much.
to have the opportunity to get to know you a little better and also to hopefully share some comforting information with the viewers.
Don't be afraid to travel. That's it.
You heard it from an expert. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Uh-oh.
Do you want some
The
peanuts?
That was wonderful. Was it good? And that was our interview with our friend Gina. I loved sitting with her, and because somehow she reignited my excitement for travel. And what you want to know about Gina is that she loves singing. If she finds a microphone, she'll go for it, and she does karaoke in town and so forth and so on. And she was just absolutely wonderful. Let me take a quick look at some questions that are coming in. Just now, let's take a quick look. Matthew asks, at the beginning of COVID, there was reports saying how some airlines were thinking of changing the configuration of seats on their planes. Did Gina say anything about that? Actually, she did not. We ran the interview without any pause, without any editing. The only thing I did is to do a few close-ups here and there. And after the interview, Gina told me that she was not allowed to mention her airline. So I deliberately bleeped that from the interview. But I don't think we're going to get her in trouble because some people answered that question during this interview. Let me take a quick look at what else we see. Gina is a breath of fresh air in more ways than one, Raymond, because I mean, I cannot speak for all of you. I haven't been on a plane in God knows how long. And, the planes are the least of my concerns. My personal concerns have to do with taking the bus, for example, to Guadalajara, because, and I could be wrong on this one. I would love to maybe go interview somebody at ETN or one of the bus lines, because my personal, Gina said something that is really important to me, and I'd like to mention it again in case you missed it. Gina at some point said, when I started flying again, I was so worked up with my own ideas of what it was going to be like that I made myself, totally frightened. And the reality turned out not to be that. And I think I am guilty of that. I'm guilty of thinking that hopping on a bus from here to Guadalajara is going to kill me or is going to be risky. And for all I know, the bus lines, the airlines, all the people that are responsible for taking us from point A to point B are doing their job. And I think as we allow ourselves to feel comfortable in our lives, we should actually, stretch our necks and see what's out there. Oh, that was weird. I've never done that before. Stretch our necks and see what's out there, because we may be missing on life. It's one of those things. Let's see. Gina did mention that her airline is not using middle seats. Absolutely. Let's see. Thanks to you, Kelly, for sticking around. I am not wrong about buses versus planes, says Dave. Again, I have not done that. And Matthew, I am well aware of the fact that ETN has single rows in their double-decker buses, but I just don't know how they filtrate their air. And maybe I'm being ignorant in thinking that it's all about air filtration. All I know is that I've taken some overnight buses to Guadalajara, and sometimes you wake up in the morning and the bus just smells like somebody ate their chicken with feathers included or something. So I don't know. I really don't know. I know that sooner or later I will bring myself up to having the guts to sit on a bus again and do an overnight trip somewhere. And thank you for that, Lee. Yeah, that's my general feeling. But it's something that I'm being mindful of, and something that we'll have to look at in the future. We have friends that rent vans or provide transportation service, so maybe that's going to be a way to go to Guadalajara, or if somebody's driving, I don't know. But in the meantime, this was our broadcast for today. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I look forward to orchestrating more of these interviews in the near future, now that it becomes easier to reach out and get together with people in a controlled environment and get to know what they're thinking about. Tomorrow's Friday. We still don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but hopefully we'll have some good news and interesting news to share. But as always, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your company. And I thank you for joining me as we get to know Gina a little bit better. Next time you see her out and about, just say hello to her. She's a superb lady. And I am very, very grateful that we had the opportunity to learn from an insider what it is like to fly the friendly skies. Stay kind, stay calm, stay cautious, but don't forget to live your lives. Have a great day.